Ladies, let's have a little chat. Woman to woman. You ever lean in to whisper something sweet or say grace at the table, and someone subtly offers you a mint? No shade, of course, but you start wondering, is it me? Now, before you clutch your pearls or reach for the mouthwash, hear me out. I'm not pointing fingers. I've been there. We all have. And let's be honest, nothing makes you feel less than fresh faster than the suspicion that your breath might be part of the problem. I remember the exact moment it hit me. I was at brunch with my friend Carol and the girls. You know the type of brunch. Bottomless coffee, bottomless gossip, and someone always brings a tub of Tic Tacs. Well, Carol leaned in mid-story, and without missing a beat, she slipped me one. Not rudely, just tactfully, like she was doing me a kindness. I smiled, popped it in, and laughed along. But inside I was spiraling. I brush twice a day. I floss. I even use one of those fancy water sprayers that feel like you're giving your gums a deep tissue massage. So what was going on? Well, here's what I learned. And trust me, it was equal parts shocking and freeing. Bad breath in older women often has nothing to do with hygiene. It's not your toothbrush's fault. It's not even about skipping mouthwash. According to doctors, there are certain foods, some of them healthy even, that can leave your breath smelling a little sour. And as we age, our metabolism and body chemistry change in ways that make us even more sensitive to these culprits. So today I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm going to walk you through 7 sneaky foods that might be messing with your breath. And you probably had no idea. No judgment, no shame. Just a little science, a few giggles, and a whole lot of truth. Let's dive into the first one, shall we? This one hurt my heart a little. Because if you know me, you know I love a soft brie or creamy camembert with crackers and grapes. It's the highlight of my Sunday evening. But let me tell you, it turns out my little cheese board was doing more than making me feel fancy. It was turning my breath into a dairy disaster. Here's why. Cheese, especially soft-aged varieties, contains amino acids that break down into sulfur compounds when they mix with the natural bacteria in your mouth. Combine that with how dairy tends to thicken saliva and slow down cleaning action in the mouth. And well, let's just say it's not great. My dentist told me, it's not that you have bad hygiene, it's the brie. I nearly choked. Since then, I've learned a few tricks. Drink water while eating cheese. Follow up with something crisp like apple slices or raw veggies. And my favorite? Chew on a sprig of parsley like they used to garnish plates with in the 80s. Turns out it actually helps. All right. Now that we've made peace with the cheese board betrayal, let's move on to a daily ritual we all hold dear. And it's not going to be easy to hear. I know. Trust me, I know. If you're anything like me, that morning cup of coffee is more than just a beverage. It's a ritual, a moment, a quiet little ceremony between you and your favorite mug that says, "We've got this, sweetheart." But as it turns out, that beloved brew might be whispering something else. Through your breath. Let me tell you about the time I learned this the hard way. I was at the salon under the dryer, chatting away with my stylist when she ever so gently said, "Miss Linda, I brought you some gum. Peppermint, your favorite." Now, she's been doing my hair for over a decade, so she gets a pass. But still, I knew what she really meant. So what's the science behind coffee breath? Here's the breakdown. Coffee is acidic and tends to dry out your mouth. And a dry mouth, my loves, is like a playground for odor-causing bacteria. On top of that, coffee leaves behind its own strong compounds, which mix with the bacteria and create that distinctive, shall we say, earthy scent. And if you like it with milk or sugar, guilty as charged, that combo only feeds those bacteria even more. Now, don't worry. I'm not telling you to give up your coffee. I wouldn't dare. But here are a few simple tweaks I've made. Drink a glass of water before and after your cup. It helps balance the acidity and keeps things flowing. Chew sugar-free gum or mints with xylitol, which helps promote saliva production. Switch to herbal. Tea in the afternoon. Chamomile or peppermint are my go-tos, and they actually help freshen your breath. All right, let's keep going. Because the next food, is something you probably eat because you're trying to be healthy. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a good bowl of steamed broccoli. It's light, it's green, it's good for the bones. What's not to love? But let me tell you, there's a dark side to this family of veggies, cruciferous vegetables. Think broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts are nutritional powerhouses, but they're also full of sulfur-containing compounds. You know, the same ones that give rotten eggs their charming aroma. As we digest these foods, the sulfur breaks down and can get absorbed into our bloodstream, eventually making its way out, through the lungs. Yes, that's right. Your lungs. So no matter how clean your mouth is, the smell literally comes from the inside out. Now, I'm not saying don't eat them. Please do. They're fantastic for aging gracefully. But if you're heading into a social situation, maybe skip the cabbage slaw. And if you must, pair it with fresh herbs, a squeeze of lemon, or even a bit of mint. They help neutralize the effects. Up next, one that lives in nearly every kitchen and makes me tear up just thinking about it. Now, before you roll your eyes, let me say this. I love onions and garlic. I really do. Garlic bread. Yes, please. A little red onion on my salad? Don't mind if I do. But the truth is, these two sneaky ingredients are the real breath bandits. And they don't care how fancy your toothpaste is. I'll never forget the night I went out to dinner with a lovely gentleman from my book club. We'll call him Harold. We were at this cute little Italian place, and I went all in on the spaghetti aglio e olio. Basically garlic and oil on pasta. Romantic, right? Until we got back to the car, and he politely cracked the window. In January. Here's why this happens. Both garlic and onions contain sulfur compounds. Specifically, allyl methyl sulfide. When you chew them, these compounds don't just stay in your mouth. They get absorbed into your bloodstream and come out through your lungs, just like those cruciferous veggies we talked about earlier. That's why even brushing and flossing sometimes don't make a dent. But don't panic. You don't have to swear off garlic forever. What kind of life would that be? Instead, here's how I manage it now. Eat raw onions and garlic in moderation, especially if I know I'll be talking to people later. Cook them thoroughly. Cooking helps break down the sulfur compounds so they don't linger as much. Follow up with fresh breath fighters like parsley, mint, or even a crisp apple. They help scrub and neutralize odors. Let's be honest, ladies. Sometimes we don't even notice when these smells are sticking around, because we're just used to them. That's why it helps to have a trusted friend or even a grandchild. They'll tell you the truth. No filter. Now this one surprised me. I always assumed spicy food might cause a little burping, sure. But I didn't think it would stick to my breath the way it does. And vinegar? I mean, come on. That's in half my salad dressings. But here's the thing. Spicy foods, especially ones with chili, curry, or strong spices, can actually irritate the stomach lining. This creates a reflux effect, which pushes acidic vapors back up your throat, and vinegar. That acidity lingers in your mouth and throat, drying out your saliva and encouraging, you guessed it, more bacteria. Here's how I've started handling this. Pair spicy or acidic meals with something mild on the side, like a bit of yogurt or rice. Don't eat them on an empty stomach. It makes the reflux worse. Rinse your mouth out with water after eating, and wait about 30 minutes before brushing to avoid scrubbing acid into your enamel. The bottom line? You don't have to give up flavor. You just have to be smart about how and when you enjoy it. Because ladies, I'll say it again, we're aging like fine wine, not pickled onions. Up next, the one drink that pretends to freshen your breath, but does the exact opposite. Now, I know I'm about to step on some sacred ground here, but don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here to tell you what the doctors are whispering behind the scenes. Both red wine and coffee, they may be the soul of our evenings and the savior of our mornings, but when it comes to breath, they are absolute traitors. Let's start with red wine. You take a sip thinking, ah, classy and elegant. But what's actually happening? Red wine is acidic and loaded with tannins, which dry out your mouth. Less saliva means more bacteria get to party, and that means more odor. On top of that, red wine has natural sugars and sometimes sulfites, which cling to your tongue and gums like a moody ex. They leave behind a musty, sour scent that no spritz of breath spray can cover for long. And coffee? Oh dear. I love a morning cuppa as much as the next person. Don't even talk to me before I've had mine. But coffee is not just acidic. It's also a diuretic, which dries you out even further. Combine that with the milk or cream many of us add in, and you've got a bacteria buffet going on right there in your mouth. Here's how I make peace with it. I never sip coffee or wine without a big glass of water nearby. Hydration is key for us. I drink either. I rinse with water and swish around gently. Even just that helps. I keep sugar-free gum or mints with xylitol in my purse. Not just for freshening, but to stimulate saliva production, which is the real hero. Let's be real, ladies. We've earned our glass of wine and our lazy morning coffees. But knowing how to balance them with good habits, that's what keeps us fresh, fabulous, and mysterious for all the right reasons. Now for the twist ending. The one that nearly made me toss out half my healthy pantry items. Hidden sugars. They are everywhere. And they're not just in cakes and biscuits. I'm talking granola bars, fruit yogurts, dried cranberries, even some low-fat salad dressings. These foods parade around with their heart-healthy and low-fat labels. But if you check the ingredients, they're loaded with sweeteners that turn your mouth into a petri dish for odor-causing bacteria. Here's the logic. Sugar feeds bacteria. Bacteria produce acids and sulfur. Sulfur smells like rotten eggs. So, while you might think your dried mango snack is virtuous, your breath is out here betraying you. And don't even get me started on those sugar-free candies with artificial sweeteners like sorbitol. They're notorious for upsetting your gut and making your breath smell funky and gassy. Double trouble. Here's what I do now. I read labels, even on the healthy stuff. If sugar, or one of its cousins, is high on the list, I rethink it. I swapped flavored yogurts for plain Greek yogurt and added my own fruit. I keep snacks simple. A handful of nuts, a slice of apple, or even some cucumber with lemon. Before we wrap this up, I have to say this. Clean your tongue. You can brush and floss all day, but if you skip your tongue, you're leaving behind layers of bacteria. I use a tongue scraper every morning now. Takes 10 seconds, but The difference? Night and day.